It was not raining. No thunderclap. No dramatic wind rattling the windows. Just a quiet Tuesday evening. Too quiet. You ever notice how silence has weight? That kind of airless, suffocating silence that makes the hairs on your arms stand up. That's what I remember most about that night. Ashley was brushing her hair in the mirror. Long strokes. Slow. Deliberate. I stood in the doorway, watching the back of her head like I was waiting for it to turn into someone else. My palms were sweating. The words were already loaded in my mouth. Ashley, I said, trying to keep my voice level. Have you been intimate with him? She stopped brushing just for a second. That was all it took. That pause. It cracked the floor under me. She did not spin around. She did not shout or deny. She stared at her own reflection. Then said, "Where's this coming from?" My legs felt like concrete. I stepped into the room, barely breathing. You know where it's coming from. She turned slowly. I said, no panic, no guilt. Just a look like I was wasting her time. Like I was interrupting something more important. Are we really doing this again? She said, Jesus, Ryan, she always says my name like it's an obligation. Like I'm her assistant who forgot to file something. I did not back down. Just tell me the truth. I already know. She smirked. If you already know, then what's the point of asking? And just like that, everything dropped. 10 years of my life, 7 years married. All of it fell through a black hole created by one crooked smile. You want the full picture? Ashley is the type who does not just walk into a room. She enters it like she is posing for invisible cameras. Her voice turns silk when she talks to strangers. And she has this habit of touching people's arms when she laughs. Like they read the only person in the room. He used to make me feel lucky. Then it started making me feel sick. The late nights began around November, work dinners, client drinks, team retreats. She'd come home buzzed. Smelling like perfume that was not hers. Said it was one of the girls'. Except Ashley hated wearing perfume. She used to say it gave her headaches. I saw her messages by accident, or maybe fate if you believe in that kind of thing. Her iPad was connected to the cloud. She forgot that once, I guess, or stopped caring. I did not go looking. But the screen lit up while I was charging it in the kitchen. A text preview from someone named Brandon. Brandon. That little freckle on your hip drives me insane. That was it. I did not breathe for a full minute. That night I lay beside her in bed, listening to her steady breathing, wondering how long I'd been sleeping next to a lie. I did not confront her right away. I needed more. I needed to see it with my own eyes. So I did. I followed her one night. Thursday said I was going to visit my brother. But I circled back. Parked across the street from her office. Waited at 7:36 p.m. She walked out in heels and a black coat. Laughing with Brandon. He touched her lower back like he'd done it 100 times. They got into his car. Drove off. I followed. My hands were shaking on the wheel. They pulled into a boutique hotel. Not a chain. Not a business-type place. One of those quiet ones with frosted glass and no valet. Discreet. She never even looked back. I stayed in the car until the lights in the suite turned off. An hour and 47 minutes later, she came out alone. Hair slightly messy. Smiling at her phone. Got in an Uber. I went home. Sat in the kitchen with the lights off until the sun came up. So when I asked her that question in front of the mirror, I already knew. She just confirmed it by saying nothing that meant anything. She finally spoke again. You always ruin everything with your insecurity. I laughed. Actually laughed. Right. I'm the problem. She nodded like she was proud of me for finally catching on. That was the moment I knew my marriage was not broken. It was gone. Burned down to ash and smug expressions. And she was still standing in the smoke like she did not even feel the heat. She packed a bag that night. Not a suitcase. No, that would have made it real. Just her big leather tote. The one with the gold zippers and the initials I had engraved for our anniversary. She stuffed it with what she called just a few things. Lipstick, chargers, laptop, probably a pair of heels she'd wear for him. The whole time she did not look at me once. "You seriously going to make this a thing?" she said, zipping up the bag like she was late for yoga. "Ryan, it's not what you think." I leaned against the doorframe of the bedroom. Arms crossed, heart pacing like it was trying to outrun my ribs. "You went to a hotel with him." She paused. A beat too long. Her tone changed. Sharper. Colder. "You followed me?" "You not denying it." She shrugged. "You've always had control issues. You just finally found something to latch on to." She walked past me, shoulder grazing mine like I was not even there, like I was some furniture in her way. I followed her down the stairs. "You still have not answered," I said. "Did you sleep with him?" She stopped at the bottom step and turned slowly, eyes narrowed like she was seeing me for the first time and did not like what she saw. "Is that really the question you want to die on, Ryan? What do you think happens when someone is lonely for months? When their own husband makes them feel invisible?" I swallowed. Hard. "So it's my fault now?" She did not blink. "It did not happen overnight. That's what she called it. It. And I realized in that moment there was no remorse. No shame. Just a woman who'd already rewritten the story in her head where she was the victim and I was the inattentive villain. "Brandon makes me feel like I matter," she added, quieter now, not soft, just low and deliberate. "He listens. He sees me. I've been right here," I said, voice shaking every day. "Yeah," she laughed bitterly. "That's the problem." Then she was gone. The front door clicked shut, and all I could hear was the faint jingle of her car keys as she walked away. I stood there in the middle of the hallway, staring at the empty space she left behind, trying to remember the last time she touched me without obligation. She did not even take her wedding ring. I sat down at the bottom of the stairs. Everything felt still dead, almost like the house knew it had just been evacuated of something essential. That night I did not cry. I just stayed awake scrolling through old pictures on my phone. The trip to Oregon, our first apartment, the anniversary video I made her 2 years ago edited together from clips of us cooking, dancing, laughing on the beach. She cried when I showed her that. Real tears, said she'd never felt more loved in her life. Now I wonder if that was just a performance. If any of it was. At 2:14 a.m., I opened a new note on my phone and wrote a single line. "This is not a rough patch. This is a pattern." And suddenly every little moment from the last 6 months lined up perfectly. The fake smiles, the long showers, the uncharged excuses, the cold side of the bed. I did not sleep. I did not eat the next day. But I knew one thing. I was not going to be her backup plan. The next morning started like any other, except she was not there and her absence screamed louder than her presence ever had. The sunlight through the kitchen window felt intrusive, like it had no right to touch the same table where she sat laughing 2 weeks ago over almond milk and some dumb story about her co-worker's failed Tinder date. I did not go into work. Called in, voice flat. "Family emergency," I said. No follow-up questions. I paced the house for hours. Every corner of the place echoed with her. Her coffee mug still in the sink. A strand of her hair on the bathroom counter. Her charger coiled neatly on her nightstand. She left in such a hurry, but not enough to forget the essentials. Just enough to remind me she planned this. Around noon I finally texted her. Nothing poetic. No begging. Just, "Are you coming back to talk or should I start packing your things?" 3 dots. Typing. Then they vanished. 10 minutes later. "I think we need space. I'll come by tomorrow when you're not home." I stared at it for a long time. When I'm not home, she could not even face me. I did not reply. What was the point? Instead, I opened the closet and pulled her side apart. Her stuff was so deliberately curated, like a showroom. Color-coded dresses, bags and their little dust covers, shoes arranged like they were on display. I did not touch anything. Just stared. trying to figure out when this woman, the one I married, became such a stranger. I went into the guest room, pulled out an old box we had not opened in years. Inside were photos. Real ones? Printed. From our early days. She used to laugh with her whole body back then. I, squinting, had tilted back. She looked free. We both did. One picture caught my eye. We were in Santa Cruz. She had her arms around my neck, soaking wet from the ocean, and she just smeared sunscreen across my cheek as a joke. Her smile in that picture? Unfiltered joy. I do not know when that smile became a currency she started spending on someone else. That afternoon, my brother Jake showed up unannounced. He must have sensed something in my voice on the call earlier. I opened the door. Did not say a word. He looked at me, looked at the half-packed suitcase by the stairs, and just said, "Damn." We sat in silence for a while. He cracked open 2 beers. I did not even taste mine. Finally, he asked, "You gonna try to work it out?" And here's the thing, I did not even flinch. Did not consider it. Did not hesitate. No. He nodded like he'd already guessed. Good. Because she does not sound like someone who deserves that. And he was right. This was not about one mistake. This was about disrespect, layered and deliberate. She did not just cheat on me. She abandoned us long before her body ever left the house. She disconnected and chose someone else while expecting me to sit quietly and stay loyal to the version of her that did not exist anymore. Around 6 p.m., I got another text. "Ashley, I'll be by around 9 tomorrow morning. Please do not be dramatic. I just want to grab my stuff and go. No apology. No regret. Not even an ounce of guilt." I read that message and felt something shift. The part of me that still wanted answers, still wanted to scream, cry, understand. It died right there. I was not going to chase closure. I was going to give her what she clearly wanted, the door. But not quietly. I woke up before the sun. Did not sleep much again. My body felt wired and numb at the same time, like it could not decide whether to shut down or explode. I got out of bed at 5:13 a.m. and just started moving. Coffee. Cold shower. Trash bags. I do not know what flipped the switch, but something in me decided that if she was going to treat me like a placeholder, I was not going to treat her like home anymore. I went through the closet first. Every dress, every blouse, every little luxury she had meticulously arranged, I folded it all. Not out of respect, but because I did not want to hear her say a single word about wrinkled silk when she picked them up. I stuffed the clothes into boxes, labeled them, lined them up by the door. Then I moved to the bathroom, her skincare shrine. Serums, rollers, those weird golden eye patches she claimed were essential. All of it. Into a bag. No ceremony. I pulled her stupid yoga mat from under the bed. Tossed her manifesting magic journal in with the pile. The irony was not lost on me. By 8:42 a.m., everything she owned was boxed and bagged by the entryway. At 8:59, her car pulled into the driveway. I did not open the door. I watched from the upstairs window as she stepped out wearing sunglasses even though it was cloudy, dressed like she was heading to brunch, not picking up the pieces of a marriage she set on fire. She rang the doorbell once. Twice. Then knocked. "Ryan," she called, tone clipped like she was scolding a dog that would not come when called. I opened the door just as she was about to knock again. She looked surprised to see me standing there so calm. She scanned the boxes and bags, her lips twitching like she was going to say something clever. "I told you I'd come by." "You did not have to," I cut her off. "It's all there." Double-checked. She took off her sunglasses slowly, I scanning the hallway like she expected something more dramatic. "You really doing this?" I laughed. One quiet, sharp note. "I'm doing this?" She tilted her head. "I just thought after cooling down maybe you'd want to talk like adults." "Adults?" I said, crossing my arms. "You mean like sneaking around with a co-worker while lying to your husband for half a year?" She rolled her eyes. Rolled? Her eyes. I never lied about needing space, she said. You lied about who was in that space with you. Ashley sighed, clearly irritated. Look, I did not come here to rehash everything. We both know it was not working. You made sure that. You were distant too, Ryan, she snapped. You have not touched me in months. I stared at her. Because every time I got close, you felt like a stranger. Cold. Checked out. You were already somewhere else. She looked away. For the first time, she did not have a comeback. I did not wait for one. Take your stuff and go, Ashley. You do not live here anymore. Her jaw tensed, but she nodded. Did not say thank you? Did not say sorry. Just grabbed 2 bags and walked them to her car. Came back. Repeated. Like we were strangers helping a neighbor move. On the last trip out, she stopped in the doorway and turned to me. For what it's worth, I did love you, she said. But I'm not going to apologize for choosing what makes me feel alive. I did not flinch. Then I would not apologize for choosing peace over poison. She stared at me like she did not recognize me anymore. Like the man who used to forgive her for everything had finally vanished. And he had. She left without another word. No hug. No glance back. When the door clicked shut behind her, I stood still in the quiet house, looking at the space where she used to be. Then I locked the door. And I did not just feel free. I felt done. That evening, I sat on the living room floor, just me, a pizza I did not touch and the last echo of her perfume fading from the air. I could not believe how fast a decade could vanish. Just gone. No ceremony. No explosion. Just cardboard boxes and a front door that would never open for her again. The silence was different now. It was not suffocating. It was hollow. Like the house was waiting for me to breathe again. Around 9 p.m., Jay called. You all right? He asked. No, I said. But I'm clear. He did not push. Just stayed on the line, both of us silent for a while, 2 brothers connected by pain neither of us deserved. Then he asked, You want to know something wild? Sure. I ran into Brandon once. At that Christmas party. He was bragging about how easy it is to get with coworkers. Said something like, half the office wives are just waiting for someone to flirt long enough. I did not think he meant Ashley at the time, but I froze. You serious? Dead serious. He said it like a joke, but you could tell he meant it. My stomach turned. Not from shock, but from recognition. She once told me Brandon was kind of an idiot, someone she could not take seriously. She laughed when I asked if he ever hit on her. Brandon, please. He harmless. Harmless. Right. That's the thing about people like Ashley. They rewrite reality while you're still living in it. By the time you realize it, you're already standing on a stage built out of their excuses. I did not say much else to Jake after that. Just thanked him, hung up and sat there staring at the empty wall where her wedding photo used to hang. I had taken it down that morning, could not look at it anymore. The smile in that picture was not hers. Not really. It belonged to the version of her I thought existed. A couple of hours later, I got a message. Ashley. I forgot my green sweater. Mind if I stopped by tomorrow? She did not say hi. Did not ask how I was. Did not even spell it out like a person trying to make amends. Just wanted her damn sweater. I stared at the message, heart like ice. Not angry. Not hurt. Just cold. I wrote back. I donated it. She read it instantly. No reply. And that was the first time since this all started that I smiled. It was not about revenge. It was not petty. It was symbolic. That green sweater was her favorite. She wore it on our first road trip in photos from 3 holidays, even brought it to that fake retreat she swore was business-related. That sweater had history. But it was just another thing she left behind. Just another piece of herself she did not value enough to hold on to. Let her feel that. I went to bed early that night. For once, no nightmares. No spirals. Just sleep. The kind of sleep you get when you finally stop wondering whether someone who says they love you is lying. The next morning, I woke up to sunlight and silence. Not the kind that hurts. The kind that feels earned. I brewed coffee black the way she always hated it. She used to make this big show of gagging any time I skipped the cream. It tastes like melted tires, she'd say. I used to laugh. Now I drank it that way deliberately. Every bitter sip was a reminder she does not live here anymore. And I do not know her softness. I sat on the back porch with the mug in my hand watching the neighbor's dog bark at leaves again. Stupid, pointless, but loyal. And that dog made more sense to me than my wife ever did. Around 10:30 a.m. I got another text. Ashley, you seriously gave away my sweater? That was expensive, Ryan. No, hey. No, sorry. Just that tone again, like I borrowed something and scratched it. I did not respond. What could I say that would matter? She had not even asked about me. Not once. Not how I was sleeping. Not if I was okay. Nothing. I spent most of that day clearing the last traces of her out of the house. The candle in the bathroom she insisted on lighting every night. Gone. The pair of mugs we got from that bed and breakfast in Vermont. Hers in the trash. Mine back in the cupboard. The photo albums. I boxed them. Not out of spite. Just. I did not want them looking at me anymore. In the afternoon, Jake came by again. He brought lunch and a six-pack. Did not say much at first. Just sat with me on the porch while we ate in silence. Then he said, "You know what your problem was?" I looked at him, eyebrow raised. "You kept seeing her potential. Not the person she became. That hit harder than I expected because he was right. I kept hoping the version of Ashley I fell in love with would come back. I excused so much cold shoulders, missed calls, half-hearted apologies, because I believed that underneath all that the real her was still in there, that she was just going through something that if I was patient enough, she'd snap out of it. But that was a fantasy. The woman I loved did not exist anymore. Or maybe she never did. Maybe she was just better at pretending when things were easy. That night, I did something I had not done in a long time. I made dinner for myself. Really made it. Not frozen garbage or takeout. Chicken, roasted veggies, real seasoning. She used to tease me about how I overcooked everything. I cooked it how I liked it this time. I sat at the table alone, ate every bite. And when I finished, I picked up my phone. I opened our old text thread, the one filled with emojis. And I miss US and links to memes we used to send each other at 2 a.m. I did not say anything. I just scrolled 1 year, then 2, then 3, watching our conversation shrink bit by bit, watching the warmth leave word by word until all that was left was cold logistics and schedules and lies dressed up like dinner plans. Then I deleted the thread, deleted her contact, deleted her from every folder that still had her name. And the phone felt lighter in my hand. It was 10:12 p.m. when I realized that was the first day in months that I had not cried. Not even once. I did not feel victorious. Or angry. Or healed. I just felt freed out. A week passed. Then too. I expected the crash. The late-night breakdowns, the urge to call her just to hear her voice one more time. But they never came. What I did not expect was the emptiness. Not emotional, physical. Like when you reach for your keys in your pocket, and they are not there. That twitch of panic followed by the slow realization that something you once carried every day is just gone. Ashley used to fill the house with noise. With movement. The sound of her heels clicking down the hallway, her blow dryer at 6 a.m., her sharp laugh from the kitchen when she was on speakerphone with her friends. Now the silence had settled. Not heavy. Not painful. Just different. I started sleeping on her side of the bed. I do not know why. Maybe out of spite. Maybe just to reclaim it. Her pillow still smelled like that floral conditioner she used, lavender and something artificial. It faded after 3 days. I did not replace it. One Thursday night I ran into Mason, an old friend from college, at a gas station of all places. He did a double take and then burst out laughing. "Dude. You look like hell." I smiled, probably for the first time in days. Thanks. Appreciate that. We stood there for 20 minutes catching up like no time had passed. When I told him Ashley and I split, he did not fake shock. He just nodded slowly like someone who knew more than they were saying. I mean, not to be that guy, he said, but she always had that vibe, man. What vibe? You know. Like she wanted to be admired. Constantly. Did not matter who it came from. That stuck with me. Because he was right. Ashley never wanted to be loved quietly. She wanted to be watched. Praised. She did not care where the attention came from as long as it did not stop. I think I was just the first one who clapped the loudest. On Saturday, she texted me again. First time in days. Ashley. Can you send me the Netflix password? I stared at the message, half laughing, half disgusted. No shame. No boundaries. Just casually asking like we were roommates instead of a broken marriage. I typed. Change it. Lose it. Forget it. Then blocked her number. That felt like shutting a door once she kept trying to wedge her foot in. Not because she wanted back in, but because she hated not having access. Later that night, Jay called again. He asked how I was doing. I told him the truth. I'm not sad anymore. I'm just angry. Good, he said. Use that. Let it push you forward. I spent the rest of the weekend cleaning everything top to bottom. I tossed the wedding album into the garage, took our old vacation magnets off the fridge, donated half the throw pillows she obsessed over, bought new ones, ugly ones, probably, but mine. And in doing all that, I noticed something strange. Every room looked bigger. Like I had space to breathe, to think, to be. There was no one judging how I folded the towels. No passive-aggressive remarks about how I always load the dishwasher wrong. Just me. In a house that used to feel like a shrine to someone who did not even want to stay. That night, I sat on the floor with a drink in my hand, lights off, music low. And I said it out loud for the first time. She's not coming back. And for the first time, I did not want her to doubt it happened on a Tuesday just afternoon. I had just finished a meeting and was halfway through a lukewarm cup of coffee when I got the email. Subject line HR inquiry confidential. I clicked it, not thinking much. Then I saw the name Brandon Cooper. Ashley S. Brandon. It was a short note from someone in his company's HR department. Standard tone, very formal. They were reaching out to confirm if I had any knowledge of a personal relationship between Mr. Cooper and Mrs. Ashley Walker during the time she was employed there. I read it 3 times. My heart started pounding, not from panic, but from the realization that something was cracking for them now. Finally, I did not respond right away. I forwarded the email to Jake first, just to be sure I was not misreading it. His reply came back in under 2 minutes. Dude, he screwed. That's a compliance red flag. I sat back in my chair and stared at the screen. I imagined Ashley's face when she got that same email. Brandon's face, the panic, the scrambling, and I felt nothing. No joy, no vengeance. Just a strange calm, like the universe was finally tugging the rope back in the other direction. I did not answer the HR rep, not right away. I figured I'd let them stew a little. Let them wonder what I'd say. If I'd send screenshots. If I had receipts. And yes, I did. I had plenty. That evening, I took a walk through the neighborhood. Same sidewalks, same trees, but the air felt lighter. I was not walking around like a man dragging his past behind him anymore. I was just walking. I passed the corner where Ashley and I used to stop on our jogs, well, where I stopped, and she kept running without ever looking back. That image suddenly felt more symbolic than it ever had before. Back home, I finally crafted a response. To whom it may concern. Yes, I have relevant information regarding the relationship in question, including messages exchanged and timelines that overlap with Mrs. Walker's employment. I am happy to provide anything necessary to assist your inquiry. Let me know how you'd like to proceed. Regards. Ryan Walker. I hit send. No hesitation. That was the last tie. The last piece. Later that night, I opened my old saved folder in my browser. The one with anniversary trip plans, house listings we never followed through on, baby name websites we never talked about seriously. One by one, I deleted them. All of it. Then I poured a drink and went outside. The stars were out. And for the first time in I do not know how long, I did not feel like I was waiting for anything. Not for a text. Not for an apology. Not for closure. She was unraveling her life. And for once, it was not my problem to fix. It never was. That night I slept with the windows open. No nightmares. No memories creeping in. Just air. Just peace that I did not expect her to show up. Not after weeks of silence. Not after the HR mess started unraveling. But Ashley always had a flair for unexpected entrances. Did not she? It was a Sunday. Quiet, warm. I was halfway through repainting the living room wall, something I'd been putting off for over a year, mostly because she hated the idea of changing the aesthetic. But she was not here to veto anything anymore. I had a playlist going, paint splattered on my shirt, a cold drink on the windowsill. Then came the knock. 3 short raps. No doorbell. I froze. I knew that knock. When I opened the door, there she was standing in black jeans and a plain white tee, like she wanted to appear simple, casual, human. No makeup. Hair tied back. But her eyes, they were scanning everything. She looked past me into the house like she was expecting it to look exactly the same. Like she was hoping she still fit here. You painted, she said, as if that was her opening line. Yep, I replied. Did not move. Did not invite her in. Ashley shifted her weight, arms crossed. I figured we should talk. I tilted my head. About what? You've been giving out information about me. To my company. To HR. No, I said calmly. I've been answering direct questions from people investigating a breach of policy. Big difference. Her jaw tightened. It's gotten serious, Ryan. Brandon S. under review. I stared. Good. You think this is funny? I think it's overdue. She stepped back like I'd slapped her. But the truth was, this was not anger on her face. It was fear. The slow realization that she was not untouchable. That the fantasy she left me for was turning into a liability. I did not come here to fight, she said after a moment. I wanted to clear the air. Maybe apologize. Maybe tell me to talk. I raised an eyebrow. Apologize? For what? That made her hesitate. I do not know, she said, and for once she looked small. For how it ended. For how I left. I was not fair. I let the silence hang. I was not going to help her fill it. She tried again. You were a good husband, Ryan. I just did not know how to say I was not happy. You did, I said. You said it in a hotel room with him. That shut her up. She looked at her shoes, picked at her thumbnail. Then finally she looked me in the eyes. I made a mistake. No, I replied. You made a series of choices. Do not dress it up. Ashley's breath caught. Maybe from guilt. Maybe just from hearing someone finally say it without flinching. I thought you'd be more bitter, she said quietly. Oh, I was, I answered. But then I realized being angry at someone who never valued me is like screaming at a wall and hoping it turns into a door. She stared at me like she did not recognize me. Maybe she did not, because the man who used to beg for her attention, who used to lose sleep over her cold shoulder, that man was dead, buried under every lie she ever told with that rehearsed smile. Finally, she asked, Do you think you'll ever forgive me? I shrugged. Does it matter? She did not answer. She just nodded, then turned to leave. No hugs. No tears. No drama. Just a woman walking away from the ruins she started, expecting the smoke to clear for her. I closed the door behind her and did not look back. She was done trying to haunt me. And I was done letting her doubt it. It's been 3 months since she walked out that door for the last time. The seasons shifted. The wall is fully repainted now. Deep charcoal gray, bold, honest, not a color she would have chosen. That was the point. The house does not feel empty anymore. Feels mine. The couch is not staged to look magazine perfect. There's a laundry basket in the hallway. I still have not moved. I leave dishes in the sink overnight. Sometimes I do not make the bed. And there's no one here to make me feel like that's a sin. Funny thing, peace is not loud. It does not announce itself with a trumpet. It just slips in slowly, replacing the noise. I started sleeping better, eating better, laughing again, really laughing. Not that fake survival chuckle you use when everything is falling apart. And I've started saying no to invitations I do not feel like accepting. No to people who drain me. No to reopening wounds just because someone else feels like bleeding again. I ran into a mutual friend at the grocery store last week. She asked if I'd heard from Ashley. I told her no and that I did not need to. She smiled. One of those tight, knowing smiles, and just said, "You look better." I think I do. My face has lines it did not have before. My eyes are quieter but sharper. Like I'm finally seeing things as they are, not as I hoped they'd be. As for Ashley, last I heard Brandon transferred departments, not voluntarily. And Ashley, she's still at the company, but not in the role she left me for. I do not know the details. I do not need them. All I know is this. The thing she chased did not turn into the life she imagined. But that's not my weight anymore. And that's the difference. I've stopped carrying people who would never lift a finger for me. Would I ever take her back? No. Would I ever want closure from her? Also, no. She gave me everything I needed the moment she looked me in the eye and chose someone else, then blamed me for it. That's all the truth I'll ever need. Now I've got a new playlist, new sheets, a dog actually, his name's Murphy, rescued from a shelter downtown. He follows me around the house, sleeps with his head on my foot, and wags his tail when I come home like I'm the best part of his day. And maybe I am. So if anyone out there is reading this, sitting in the dark, holding your breath while someone makes you question your worth, let them leave, let them show you who they are, then let them go. You'll be surprised how much lighter the world gets when you finally stop begging someone to love you the way you deserve. And one day, without even trying, you'll wake up, stretch, look around and realize you're not healing for them. You're not proving anything. You're just free. And damn, it feels good.